Good morning, everybody. I have a tremendously busy day ahead of me, and I want to get through that. But I've had lots of messages, and I want to go through some huge topics that are huge right now and absolutely myth bust, not only through the real truth of it, but the history that each and every one of you can look up for yourself. Three big categories today that are problematic for Canadians that they don't understand or they're being misled. First is digital IDs. Second is absolutely unscheduled elections and why it's the most dangerous thing for Canadians today. And people are cheering for it. Same with the removal of digital ID and how that's represented. Anti-vax, we're going to go through key issues with anti-vax and why people have to understand that there's a reality there, a real history of mankind, and we can't just ignore these things. We can't. And we can't take a lot of these concepts with us. There are tons, and I mean tons of politicians today from all walks telling you fabrications upon fabrications and fabrications on all three of these hot button topics that seem to get everybody upset and lead to massive amounts of lies and propaganda that I'm going to try and address today in this video. We're going to go through it in its real history, credible, real, verifiable, and there's a lot of folks that aren't going to be happy, specifically from even my home province of Alberta. If you want to know the number one source of digital ID in all of Canada, go to the province of Alberta. Unlike everybody else, I pull the history of things. Verified, logged, there's a history of it that nobody can dispute. And once I share that history with you, you can go look it up and you'll go, oh geez, that is the truth. So let's start with digital ID. Where was that born in Canada? Well, folks, it was born in Alberta, the province of Alberta, the provincial government, and it has spread rapidly since 2010. Where did that history come from? It's called the New West Trade Partnership. Go look at that. It began with Alberta to British Columbia, two provinces trade pact cemented by progressive conservatives, and who else? Liberal Party. Liberals and conservatives. Who are the conservatives? Progressive conservatives. UCP now today, CPC federally. They were the progressive conservatives. What does that mean? It means the first and only legal registry of the conservatives is the Liberal Conservative Party of Canada. That's who it is. Liberal and conservative. From day one, folks. Day one. Canada was born with the Liberal Party and then the Liberal Conservative Party. The two flip-flopping parties back and forth forever and a day. Go back in time to the New West Partnership Agreement between Alberta and BC. And there you will find the birth of digital ID. All for all corporations, all for all your health. Subsequently after that, you will find tremendous publications from all relevant provincial universities showcasing you digital ID. At the same time, where did that idea come from? The United States of America. All the 50 states. Currently today, since 2010 and even a few years before, the 50 states themselves started to do digital ID interstate, just like a I-state road, they have interstate digital IDs. That's where it started. It didn't begin federally because what is it? It's a corporate technology. Where do corporations come from? Oh yeah, the division of powers of federal and provincial. It's under provincial, all born in the provinces. Are digital IDs dangerous? Sure, sure. If your constitution doesn't codify the powers of your privacy, the rights of citizens and peoples and corporations, and unlike the United States, folks, Canada doesn't have any of those provisions because they're supposed to be found in the provinces. Provinces in Canada have never, and I repeat, never codified any of them ever, not since 1867. All 50 U.S. states, who 27 of them have aggressive digital ID platforms running most of citizens' information. However, they have the laws backing them up to protect the people. How's that done? Constitutionally. You can go pull any state in the USA. You can pull up their mighty constitutions and you will find it there. Any state I've looked at with digital ID platforms, you find it there. Do you know what you don't find in Canada? Those codifications for you, the Canadian subjects, you, the Canadian savages. I'm sorry, I didn't create those definitions. Those are the government's definitions of us, the people. And we are not codified in any provincial constitution protecting your digital ID rights. Never have been, never will be. Digital ID is the same as everything else. You have to rely and trust your government to do the right moral thing. Do you think you could trust Jagmeet Singh and all his massive accounts and activity through TikTok that seems to be a problem today? Do you trust your government with your digital ID when there's no rules of governance, no how to govern or any accountability? Because Canadians believe that's not a problem. You just blindly trust your government. Of course it's a problem, and it can be a problem. It's up to you, the people, to see those codifications happen. How do you do that? You elect a government to do it. Which now brings us to unscheduled elections that people want constantly. In the entire history of the United Kingdom, all of its history, its governing system, that's 21 years old this year, folks, in all the history of the UK and most constitutional monarchies, elections are held at 5-year terms maximum, but mostly 4-year terms. Now, the rules to suspend those or to see them extended or become irregular center on war. Literally, it has to be where the government's at war. Those are the rules, the constitutional rules behind election cycles. Strong democracies where government is seemingly working is centered around regularly scheduled elections. When you, the people, allow your government to throw that away, you're throwing away one of only 2 rights you actually have in constitutional monarchies. 2 rights that you actually have: the right to vote, the right to join or create a political party and enter into an election at a regularly scheduled cycle. It's the only 2 rights of the subjects and the savages in Canada defined constitutionally. The only rights you're to have, unless you're in a state of war or some serious natural disaster that's created national security risks. And it has to be super extenuating. Those are the highest laws of your land. Now, how can politicians circumvent that? Well, they can behave so erratically that they need to be thrown out of office or resigned, and then you get an irregularly scheduled election. The United Kingdom has been going down the toilet. They're on their 6th year of massive democratic decline. I don't think between the UK and all the countries of Europe, there's been a country to fall as fast as the UK in democracy and in absolute poverty for the people. It's cockamamie, it's crazy, and politicians keep resigning, keep hosting irregular elections. Why? To keep the people from mounting any kind of right to change the system of governance, which is coming for the UK. It's coming all over the world in many, many constitutional monarchies. We're seeing it in all these island countries, former colonials. It's spreading fast. UK is dropping like a fly. Right now, they're so mixed up that they're ready to flip extreme socialist again. That's how messed up the people are, because the government is behaving so immoral, so badly, and running the country right into the ground that they have to host irregular elections. They have to basically force taking away one binding right of the people. And those people who sit there, we need an election today. We need an unscheduled election. Why do we constantly have to have irregular elections? Why do we need to take that right of the people to plan and try something new away? Because they don't want the people to have any power at all. And giving away your regularly scheduled election cycle takes away your power. Trudeau did that. His father did that. Go look at your history, Canada. Go look at UK's history. When you want to see cockamamie country, go look at the regular election cycles. You'll find all the cockamamie of your country going down the toilet or going into a transitionary period into undemocratic process, immoral process by politicians. And they love it. When Conservatives champion it, when Liberals champion it, when NDP champions it, there's a problem with your system of government. There's a problem with the democratic process, meaning you're losing democracy. Go read your history books. Go open UK's, go open Canada's, and go look at the history of irregular election cycles. You'll see the wars there, and then you'll see every period where you're going into moral decline or economic ruin. You will find them all. You will find them all. And people are championing it today. More irregular elections, unscheduled election cycles equals your detriment. Every time in history. I can't make it up. You can all go look it up yourself. And that's the truth of it. Anti-vax, why I'm so deadly against anti-vax. People trying to say to me, oh no, it's only COVID, it's only COVID. It is not only COVID. Anti-vax has been around forever, with massive misinformation, disinformation campaigns that wish to ruin the health of most of society. I can show you excruciatingly painful histories just in Canada from anti-vax groups and children who paid the ultimate price for it. Pictures, things that you people don't want to see. It's in news media. You can pull the articles. It's sick. It's disturbing. The idea that AIDS is fake or that jabs are loaded with AIDS and other things. So many cockamamie, crazy. And it goes way beyond COVID, folks. Way beyond COVID. First Peoples from residential school genocide and other government experimentations in real history. Church understate real history stuff. Real sick and twisted. Afraid of vaccinations on many critical diseases that destroy societies. Doesn't matter what culture, religion, skin, or ancestry you have. These diseases, if left and released to the public, will destroy civilization. They will. It's not a matter of if or it won't be me. It will be, and it will be your family. So I don't champion anti-vax. I have no use for anti-vax. There's lots of radical crazy out there, and we don't take that. We promise constitutional conventions for and by the people. We don't write the policies or ideas for the people. I trust, given the world's greatest experts, that you, the people, in majority every time will make the right decisions. When somebody articulates step by step the history of the world in comparative and shows you how other countries have adopted things and how that's gone, because that's their life work. That's what they get up 9 to 5 and do every day of their life. These are the people you need to take you through conventions. Not me, not the illusion of anyone in my party who will be a divine savior like liberals, conservatives, NDP. That's all cockamamie. It's all misinformation, the kind of misinformation that fuels so many radical groups. There's no shortage. And where does it birth from? Your politicians, the biggest lying, cheating thieves you're ever going to deal with in your lifetime, the biggest criminals. And why? Because there's no constitutional protections in Canada for you, the people, none whatsoever, because you're not there codified in any federal constitution, and you certainly never got one as promised in 1867, Section 58 for all of you. When you see the truth of every single topic, when there is a credible expert in front of you in every major language to go through the history of any constitutional topic or codification you wish to propose or look into, and you get that credible history, you will make in majority every time the right decision going forward. I don't know what that Canada would look like, but I just know it's a heck of a lot better than a blind mass following a divine human being who pretends to have all the answers. And in reality, everything they promise you in this utopia that everyone does every election cycle, and it goes the other way, completely opposite of anything they ever said. In fact, they bring forward 150 policies you've never even heard of. Just like nobody even knows where digital ID was born from. I go grab that. It was born from the Progressive Conservatives' 2010 New West Trade Agreement. Started with Alberta to BC, and it went out to other provinces. And now it's right across Canada in other variations, other terms, and it's going national. It was created in Alberta by the Progressive Conservatives, who were the Liberal Conservatives historically before that. The legal registered party forever and a day. Put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. Politicians are pigs in Canada. They have no rules of governance, no how to govern, and zero accountability. These are dangerous things. Digital ID can be safe and it can be effective and a great way to uplift us with technology that works for us, but you need to have that codified. I'm going to say it again. Like everything, you need it codified in rules of governance, how to govern, and accountability. How do you do that? You write a constitution for and by the people. That's how it's done. That is reality. You let somebody with no rules of governance know how to govern or any accountability, and who knows what you're going to get. All these fears can be justified or not be justified. It all depends on your faith in a divine human being. I don't believe in divine human beings, and you shouldn't either. I hope this video helps a lot of people. Take your time, go look it up. Use key dates, Alberta Digital ID, New West Trade Agreement. There's the birth of digital ID, at least in Canada. And it's corporate, and it's your health, and it's the citizens. It's been around a long, long time. Anyone telling you otherwise is a liar. Is a liar. There's lots of papers to read from academics exploring this since 2010, all the way through its development. Been around in USA longer than that, and around the same time, protected and codified constitutionally in every state constitution in the United States of America. They're tremendously long. Each state in the United States of America is got a constitution at least as long as the Canadian Constitution, but much, much more or much, much longer. There's some that are upwards of almost 500 pages long, going into every aspect of the division of powers for a state. You will never find any of that in Canada. Not one province, not one territory has ever codified or pushed through to codify a constitution other than the Executive Powers Act that was implemented when each province came into confederation, done autocratically, tremendous crown power, all nearly the same, all supreme executive power of divine human beings appointed over you, elected, and then they appoint those over you. Very simplistic, 950-year-old system. It's very stable for the wealthy elite and the politicians who rule over you, who create all these troubles. I hope everybody stays around today. 8 p.m. Atlantic time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, I believe 5 p.m. out west, and 4 p.m. in BC. So there might be a variation there in Saskatchewan, but around that time, I'm going to go live with Sheffrey. We've got lots to go through, lots to talk about. China, where Canada's going, TikTok, all these things that Chinese citizens in Canada, Canadian citizens immigrated, are so worried about. I had an immense talk last night. I had a lot of issues with party loyalists, I would call them. It's what happens when you go to community events. You'll hit about a 25% threshold of party supporters of Liberals, Conservatives, or NDP, and it becomes a problem, especially today, as those parties are fighting so intensely in the GTA. And I am an Albertan. I'm not an Ontarian. And when I go to community events, you have to look for fallout. You have to look for fallout and that 25% that will cause you trouble. And I have to be smarter going forward. I learned this lesson in Alberta. Every time I get involved in a community event somewhere, it turns problematic, especially when I start getting crowds around me. And it's something that I always have to have more people with me. And I learned that pretty fast when I did AIP in Alberta. We would go out, we'd do events, group together, we teamed up, and you have to have people with you, because when you're alone, you're susceptible to all kinds of issues. Yesterday in Cambridge, I was invited, but you know what I mean, locals, he's not local. It was Liberal supporters, Liberal candidate locally, and I was pretty much thrown out, asked to leave. I didn't make up a fuss. I took my stuff and I left, but we have to be very careful going forward. These are things I've known in the past. I didn't realize the event last night would grow. And when I get talking, I usually do get crowds of people around me as time goes on, and it can be problematic. I didn't make a fuss last night. I just took my stuff and left. But had I had a few people with me, it probably wouldn't have been an issue. I wasn't ready for an event like that last night, and I do know better, and I should always plan ahead. And sometimes flying by the seat of your pants can be dangerous, folks, and it's a learning lesson. So I have lots to do today. I have lots to do for Texas. I have to get ready for that. I'm excited. I got my suit. I want to get my flyers done today. So I'm going to say sayonara, everybody. Signing off. We'll see you later tonight. And take these concepts, go through them, learn the history of anti-vax. It's much larger than COVID-19 or the flu shots. It gets radical, it gets crazy. Learn your digital ID truth as it really is, how it's a interprovincial thing because it's a power of the province. You don't see any rules around it because there aren't any. Just like every other division of powers for the province, the tyrants make them up as they go, and it's premiers. Without any say from you, without any questioning or teaching of you or any protections for you, because again, there aren't any codified in any province or territory in Canada. Not the same for the USA. This goes for election cycles. Election cycles should be regular and should be scheduled. The only two rights Canadians really have are to vote or participate in a regularly scheduled election cycle. When you take away regularly scheduled election cycles, you're in trouble. You're in trouble historically. Go look at your history. Look at the history of the UK, our founding monarchy when we were a colony, all 221 years. Go look at their election cycles. Go look at what happened during irregularly scheduled elections. Look at it. Look at Canada's. You will find the history clear of every problematic event centered around unscheduled or irregular elections. That's my video. Bye, everybody.